Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is
Bloviate, to speak or write verbosely and windily. And I'm going to bloviate a little bit right here and just read some examples of it. Warren G. Harding is often linked to bloviate, but to him, the word wasn't insulting. It simply meant to spend time idly. He used the word in a hanging around sense. He became associated with the verbose sense because his speeches tended to be on the long-winded side. So, to me, I took the word just long-winded from it, but I wanted to see if there was anything else. They say that Warren G. Harding was credited to picking up the word as local slang from his boyhood buddies in Ohio in the late 1800s. So that's where it's just giving you a bloviated sense of where it's coming from. But to me, long-winded, and it's the opposite of everything that I know. I am as short-winded as it gets. You probably know that from listening to this podcast. It's quick, it's brief, it's to the point, sometimes not. But even in my just artistic expressions in writing game text and things like that, I'm good with a sentence, maybe a second sentence. Anything beyond that, I feel just like I'm just repeating the same thing in other ways. So, but what I thought about with this was that there is something really interesting. And there are, in a game sense, to me it's about bloating and taking more steps than is actually needed. And why would you ever take more steps than is needed? The first one I wrote down was that it's fun. You might just like taking the long path. You like kind of flaunting to a degree. And I wrote, it's impressive, which is the flaunting. So that's the second part. The third one is just that it's who you are. You are just a long-winded person. You're just somebody who likes to meander a little bit and take your time getting somewhere. But the last one that I wrote was that it could trigger other things. And that's what means something to me. If you're beating around the bush in the hopes that something sticks, is a great and valid approach to a lot of things. You can just take your time, try out different paths. If you have the energy or the actions or whatever it takes to try these different things and take this longer turn than everybody else, which it probably has some risk to it, in that you're spending the energy or that there has to be some sort of downside to going that long. But trying different avenues before giving up and passing to the next player it can be valid. So I started to look at it from a mechanics side. I imagine sitting there while someone is playing a long round of something like Ascension. Ascension can really do it. Even playing the app of Ascension, your AI opponent, who's usually pretty quick, can sit there and do like 100 things on a turn, and you're just sitting there waiting. So they do this, which gives me 3 more of these, which allows me to do this, and this, and the first one allows me to remove this, and while removing that, I get this, and I forgot to do this other thing. And that chaining can feel like a long-winded approach to the end result, which is I got rid of 10 cards, gained 3 points, and killed 2 monsters. So I think of it in that sense, in very much, and to me that's an annoying sense, is being on the other side of a bloviate. So, but in thinking of it, there is something interesting in being on the other side, is that you're watching somebody kind of do things that you might be able to learn. They maybe take avenues that you wouldn't have taken, and if you're paying enough attention, you can learn something from them. So I do think of it as exploration. Long-winded discussion leads to potentially dozens and dozens of other discussions that a shorter one wouldn't. So I'm an explorer by nature, especially in board games. And even video games, I want to see what's out there, and I want to tinker and try things. So I think those all kind of fit hand in hand. So finally, to think of it from a theme sense, you could do any kind of like storytelling game where somebody's trying to keep the story going without derailing and or even trying to derail. You've got a storytelling game and you've got somebody who is the secret whatever, like the assassin, where they're trying to intentionally derail that story. I can imagine all those things as games. Any kind of storytelling game with rules is difficult. It's definitely difficult to codify a storytelling game and make people follow these rigid rules while still, creating a story and things like that. So, but I could imagine a little bit of a, we start the story and then the next person has to keep it going. So sort of like a whisper down the lane, but with the intent to just never stop. When somebody pauses, and there could be a timer, which is neat. When somebody pauses for more than X amount of seconds, or they say their third they're out. But, it's just to keep that going, which is more of like an improv exercise than a game. But that's not saying you can't make a game out of it. And that's it for me. This is brief because I told you I'm I'm not a Bloviate style person. So it's Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Share with us anything you have. We've got Nick and Diane from Shoot Again Games up for our special guest this weekend. And I'll be back here by myself again on Monday. Thanks. See you around.